All right, Lori, we're live. Take it away.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the annual final district four-way speech test contest. I am so happy to see everyone here this morning. We've had a very interesting year. Not doing this in person is always different, but you guys are really winners, and we're looking forward to what you have to tell us. I don't want to hold up the contest, so I'm going to give you a few of the rules just so that people watching this can know what we're doing. The speeches are being judged by 6 judges. Each of the judges will be judging on content, delivery, and organization of the speeches. Because there's 6 judges and we want to make sure that it's as fair as possible, we're going to be throwing out the high score and the low score, and the totals that result from the other 4 judges will be the scores that are given, with the judges then deliberating afterwards to make sure that they're clear. There will be 5 minutes for the speech, with an extra 30 seconds of grace. And Carlo has already explained to the contestants how the timekeeping will work. None of the judges are members of clubs that are producing a contestant today, so they don't know these contestants. So hopefully we will have a really awesome contest with fair judging, and I am thankful to all of you for being able to be here. Carlo?
Thank you, Lori. We're so happy to have everyone here. And just for the students, we had a pre-meeting with the students just to review the rules. And just so all of you know, each student has 5 minutes. And so I'm going to show you what they'll see once they start. Lori will give them the clear cue to start. I'll be keeping the time. Once we hit 4 minutes, then everyone will get I'll flash a little 1 minute up here just really quickly so everyone can see that they have 1 minute left. And then once they have 15 seconds left, we'll flash this up, 15 seconds very quickly, and then we'll come back. And then once their time is up, what we'll do for those of you that have an updated version of Zoom, you should be able to see Lori spotlit next to me. And that way, students, you'll know that that's your 5 minutes is up. You've got 30 seconds extra. If you go over 30 seconds, then we will start taking points off. We'll take 5% off of your total grade, your total score for anything over 5.5 minutes. So those are the rules. We made sure that all the students understood. Some students are on iPads, so they should be able to see everything just like the students that are on computers. So I think there are no other questions. And Lori, with that being said, I will kick it back over to you to kick things off.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with our first contestant, who is Morris Mims from the Louisville Noon Club.
Hello. On January 21st, 2020, the Center of Disease Control reported the first case of coronavirus in the United States. 10 days later, the World Health Organization issued a public health emergency and confirmed that coronavirus was quickly spreading through human-to-human transmission. Finally, on March 11th, the World Health Organization declared that COVID-19 was a national pandemic. As a high school student during these times, I went home for spring break and did not return to school for the remainder of the school year. Schools quickly moved to remote learning as teachers found new ways to continue the education process. This year, students were given the chance to continue their education remotely or to come back to school for in-person learning. Now, this decision was a tough one for me because it is my senior year, but I chose to do a majority of my instruction remotely from the safety of my home. By applying the Rotary 4-way test, I can evaluate my decision to see if I made the best choice. First, is my decision the truth? Health experts have advised that we stay home as much as possible and that we avoid large crowds. Now, since I attend a large high school, large crowds will be hard to avoid. If I were to go to school for in-person instruction, not only do I need to worry about the classrooms, I must also consider the hallways, the cafeterias, the bathrooms, and other public spaces. There's very little chance of being able to avoid the risk of human-to-human transmission, since the World Health Organization has verified that humans can quickly spread this virus. Then it is the truth that I'm safer if I stay home. Second, is my decision fair to all concerned? Not only must I consider myself, I must also consider the safety of my friends and family. By staying home, I reduce the risk of contracting COVID-19 from my classmates. Even though our school goes to great lengths to socially distance, wear a mask, sanitize the classrooms, it is still very difficult to avoid close contact with others while you're at school. At home, I can control who I come in contact with and keep my family safe. It would not be fair for me to accept my family to accept that everyone at school is following all of the CDC guidelines. How do I know what others do when they leave school each day? Are they wearing a mask, washing their hands, staying socially distant from others, and have they got a vaccine? By staying home, I'm assured that I'm following all suggested protocols. Third, will my decision build goodwill and better friendships? This component of the four-way test is perhaps the area that has suffered the most from my choice to learn virtually this year. While it is true that I built goodwill in my family and we've grown closer, my friendships have been affected from the fact that I'm not at school every day. I miss seeing my friends in person. As a result of the pandemic, schools have been forced to cancel many of the fun events that we enjoy each year. We've missed the homecoming parade, the dances. There have been no pep rallies, and we've had to reduce the size of crowds at sporting events. However, my friends and I have found ways to keep in touch through social media and FaceTime. We learned to celebrate the little things. The bond that we have grown living through a pandemic has strengthened my friendships. Finally, learning from home is beneficial to all concerned. I'd say absolutely. The benefits certainly outweigh the disadvantages. At home, I know that my chances of contracting the virus are far less than they would be if I were at school every day. This reduced chance of contracting the virus not only benefits me, it benefits my family. Learning virtually has allowed me to work at my own pace while having the opportunity to review any material that I need more instruction on. Also, learning from home is also preparing me for college. Many colleges and universities are expanding their online offerings to meet students' needs. In order to meet their students' needs, this is great for me because I plan to attend the university's online offering. By applying the four-way test, I have determined that I made the right decision to learn remotely from school this year. Even though my senior year is not all that I expected, I can feel confident that I made the best choice for my family. My choice is the truth because health experts verify that we're safer if we stay home. My choice is fair to all concerned because I'm not only thinking about the safety of my family, I'm thinking about the safety of my friends. And my choice is beneficial to all concerned because it builds goodwill and better friendships. And I'm more greatly appreciative of the people I care about and have found creative ways to maintain those friendships. Finally, my choice is definitely the right choice to stay home. I am safe, finding new ways to learn, and ultimately protecting my family from the risk and the horrors of COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you, Morris. That's obviously a timely topic, and it will be interesting for you to watch that video a couple years from now and refresh your memory about what your senior year was like. I guess we're waiting on the judges at this point. So Morris, if you can tell me, is your school now all virtual still, or are you doing partly going back?
Right now, the school is still offering virtual learning, but this last semester, I did come back for one class period. So I do a blended where I do half my period at home and half of it at school. So it's like an hour a day at school.
Gotcha. I think all the schools have been trying to bring kids back as much as possible for the in classroom, and being able to have some contact with your friends is a good thing. So
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I agree. So, all right. In between speakers. We have a little time. If anybody has any questions, let me know, as I need to wait for the judges to be ready. We already have a couple who are ready, so it'll be soon. Don't forget.
We've got a couple of them have raised hands.
Pardon?
Got a couple of participants that have raised their hand.
Right. I have 3 judges with raised hands. Let's see. 4 judges.
I think we're just waiting on Judges 5, Judge Short and Judge Fruchtman. All right, Lori, I think we're good. I think we're ready to go to contestant number 2.
Okay, contestant number 2 from Abilene is Jack Miller. Go, take it away. Start now.
In 2021, in the social distance of COVID-19, we rely on our smartphones more than ever. According to Statista, the global number of cell phone users has more than tripled since 2012, now measuring 3.8 billion. Alarmingly, however, a 2020 European study found there is a lower level of gray matter in the brain of people who use their smartphones to excess. If it can cause us to lose matter in our brains, is the smartphone a smart choice? Let's explore this question through the Rotary 4-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Or have we been outsmarted? In truth, the smartphone is a brilliant invention. When it comes to goodwill and better friendships, I have wonderful friends in other states that I only communicate with via smartphone. Yet, smartphones can also adversely affect friendships. Business Insider states that keeping up with constant notifications from friends can spike anxiety, as well as encourage FOMO, the fear of missing out. Cell phones can wreck sleep. PC Magazine reports that the blue light smartphones give off inhibits melatonin, the sleep hormone. Most disturbingly, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration tells us that driving while texting is 6 times more dangerous than driving while intoxicated. A phone choice that is neither smart nor fair to all concerned. The last time I gave this speech, using a smartphone while driving was just an ugly idea. It hadn't touched my life. On April 16th, that all changed when my family's car was violently totaled by a distracted driver. It's still so vivid. The terror of the oncoming headlights. The nightmare smash as my car was slammed across the road. My disbelief mixing with the twisted metal and the smell of smoke. Like so many nice people who think they can quickly check a text while they drive, the nice lady who hit me was so very sorry. She was distracted and she just didn't see me. Her goodwill came too late. It's a miracle that I could pry open the car door and stumble out unharmed. The truth is, many drivers don't. According to Reuters, distracted drivers lead to almost 3,500 deaths in the United States each year. Excessive cell phone use can damage the gray matter in our brains, but giving into phone FOMO while we drive can kill. To be fair and beneficial to all, for our smartphones to be a smart choice, we must limit their use. What do you have to do today that's more important than saving a life. I am euphoric to be alive and here, blessed with this opportunity to speak for change. In the words of Paul Harris, founder of Rotary International, I believe we can change the world, one life at a time. If all of us today will commit to always turn our phones off before we turn our cars on, then one phone at a time, we can change the world, leaving none of us outsmarted. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. That must have been scary for you, huh?
It was.
Yeah, I think that's a huge, huge issue, and I don't know how we get people to stop doing it. There are laws against it, and that doesn't still seem to stop people. So I'm glad you got out alive so you could actually be here today.
I am so thankful to be here today.
I am sure you are. Yeah, it's a very timely topic. So one of the things I wanted to mention to people is that when you go off to college, one of the great things is that a lot of universities and colleges have Rotary clubs that you can join that do service projects and things for the community around the university. It's an option for you if you're going to not do online classes like Morris is, but if you're going to be actually going to a physical university, there are Interact clubs, and they may have some online Interact clubs as well. I don't know. So it's just an option to think about when you're headed off to university. So,
Lori, I think we're ready.
now for some reason, I'm not seeing the judges, but if we're ready, then let's move on. So, are we ready for Christian Steele of Burleson area midday? You are on, sir. You can start.
Tyler Tabor was a 25-year-old man who worked as a welder to support his wife and 6-year-old son. One day, Tyler hurt his back while working, and he was prescribed painkillers for back pain. That's when Tyler's addiction started, and it didn't take long to move beyond painkillers. By the spring of 2015, Tyler's addiction was out of control, and he was arrested for 2 misdemeanor warrants. He told the nurse at the Denver jail that he was a daily heroin user. His parents thought he would be safe and away from drugs, so they chose not to bond him out. 3 days later, Tyler was dead from drug withdrawal. Atticus Finch famously said, "You never really know a man until you stand in his shoes and walk around in them." Harper Lee wrote that line because true justice, at least in some part, relies on empathy. Empathy leads us on a path towards humanity. We become no better than animals when we disregard our humanity. The past plays an important role in a person's life. Our experiences have made us who we are today, like they made Tyler who he was. By standing in the shoes of the accused, we remember our humanity and theirs. They're as human as we are. We don't consider only the crime, but also their life and background. It's not searching for an excuse. It's a means of explanation that helps us determine not only how to fix a person, but also how to make society whole again. Tyler Tabor isn't the only case. Lindsay Kronberger, Tom Derbyshire, Brianna Beeland, countless others have been arrested for misdemeanor charges after suffering from addiction. Let's put it to the Rotary test. Is it the truth? The truth is that retribution harms welfare. A focus on revenge hurts drug addicts, and they don't come back. In some cases, the standard treatment in county jails doesn't let them, because all it consists of is a combination of sports drinks, vital checks, and lockdowns in their cells. Then there's a concern of overdosing after their release. In a study by the American Journal of Public Health, It found that in North Carolina alone, in the years 2000 through 2015, the risk among opioid users for overdose was 40 times higher in the following 2 weeks after release. Heroin users were more at risk, being 74 times more likely to die of an overdose. For many drug addicts, their time in jails or prison resulted in a death sentence, harming both them and the ones that they love. The mentally ill in confinement aren't any better off. The criminal justice system turns toward the crime instead of the cause. It's not a productive means of helping our society, as the Agency of Healthcare Research and Quality reported that 64% of mentally ill offenders were rearrested within a year and a half. Is it fair to all concerned? Rehabilitation is fair to all concerned. Revenge is a concept that is unfair to society as a whole. Addiction nor mental illness bode well in the criminal justice system. Yet, even though the American Medical Association classifies addiction as an illness, we don't treat it any differently than other crimes. Prison space is less available for dangerous felons because of people that don't need to be there. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Rehabilitation naturally leads to stronger relationships, better friendships, and goodwill. For example, an article from the conversation titled "Why Rehabilitation, Not Harsher Prison Sentences Makes Economic Sense," it found that in Norway, it saw a 25% reduction in recidivism rates when they shifted their concentration to rehabilitation. This means fewer new offenses, fewer people behind bars, and lowered loss of property or life. When properly implemented, work, educational, and psychotherapy programs ease the transition from the system and back into the free world. An easier transition means less bitterness or resentment. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Overall, rehabilitation will be beneficial to all concerned, although it's not solely about the people we convict. It's about you. By rehabilitating prisoners, we rehabilitate society. Tyler Tabor would still be alive today if he had received proper rehabilitation. He would continue to be a father and a husband. We aren't lost in a repetitive cycle of sending people back to prison right after they get out. Families aren't harmed from the loss of a family member because of their addiction and because dangerous felons were able to harm their family. The future of the mentally ill and drug addicts are dependent on rehabilitation. The future of society is dependent on rehabilitation. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. That's a very complicated, complex issue that is really an epidemic in this country, unfortunately. And I'm not sure that anybody has created a great solution to that problem. So it's a very timely topic as well. Appreciate your discussion of that.
Yeah, thank you.
Carlo, I don't see the judges when they're ready.
We've got just two more judges. We got one more judge, Dominique. Okay, we're ready.
Okay. So our next speaker is Ella Randall of the Denton Lake Cities Club.
She walks down the stairs, not
Ella, I think
have
we lost
audio.
your audio, Ella. Ella, can we get you to pause? Let's get you to start over. I think we lost your audio.
voice as they engaged in unspeakable acts against her. She closed her eyes and waited for it to be over.
Hey, Ella, if you're there, I think your bandwidth is low, so we're losing your audio and your video a little bit.
It was as if the guilt and shame buried her 6 feet under the earth. For months, she found a way to dig out of the ground every morning, just to be buried.
Hey, Ella, can you hear us, Ella?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, we lost you. We lost your audio for a little while at the beginning. I don't think it's because you were muted. I think it's because your bandwidth is low. Um,
Okay.
let's restart. You know, in the world of Zoom, we have technical difficulties, and we'd certainly understand. Why don't we get you to start one more time? Well, I'll give you the countdown, and then if we still have problems, maybe we'll push pause and get you to connect another way. But let's try one more time. We want to be sure we hear everything, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's try it one more time. Take a deep breath. Your time begins now.
She walked down the stairs, not expecting to hear any.
Ella, I think we lost you again. Can you hear me, Ella? I think you've got some latency there. Yeah, Ella, we keep losing your audio. What we may suggest, Ella, can you connect maybe via a telephone or another way?
Yes.
Because we, if for some reason it's cutting out and it's not, you're not muted on Zoom, but I think it's whatever device you're using. So let's do this, Lori. Why don't we go to contestant number 5? We'll give Ella a chance to connect with through another device, and stay connected on this one, Ella. We're just gonna turn your video off and put yourself on mute so you're still there. But see if you can connect via another device, and I'll look for you. Just make sure that you're named Ella when you log in, so I can recognize you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sure thing. All right, Lori. So we want to make sure it's beneficial and fair to all concerned, right? That's part of the Rotary 4-way test. So, Lori, what do you think? How about we go, should we go to our contestant number 5?
Yes, we'll go to Miliano Gutierrez Berlanga from Arlington North.
To the audience, I would like to take a moment to applaud you, as it is evident you survived 2020. Since last March, we shut down, living through what generations to come will believe is a tall tale. Personally, the shutdown impacted me harshly. Yet through it, I found a wisdom I will impart with you today. To give you a preface, 8th grade year, my friends and I were accepted into a program that allowed us to transfer high schools to cater to our interests in STEM. The final step was to accept your spot. Yet for some reason, I couldn't. I can't tell you why I chose to decline my spot, but I can say I'm happy with that decision, for it was a pivotal step in learning a life lesson. After declining my spot, I began to ponder all the ways I would wander high school alone, as all of my friends would be transferring schools. To my favor, however, a pandemic came, closing everything, and I no longer had to worry about beginning high school alone, but I still had to deal with not being able to see my friends. Eventually, we grew out of touch, and that was when I started to listen to my inner demons. I began to daydream about how I would be judged, how others would perceive me, and I became insecure. It was from this insecurity that I began to negatively judge others more. It wasn't until I reached a valley of despair for fear of being judged that I vowed to never feel like that again. Now, as a teen battling a combination of anxiety and depression at the time, there were 2 options: get help or go through it alone. And being the stubborn bookworm that I am, I found the help I needed in the world of books. It was in this one book that I learned a Zen story about 4 monks who decided to meditate in silence for 7 days. The first day went great, but as evening approached, the first monk grew impatient as the monk whose job it was to light the lamps was still sitting. Eventually, the first monk erupted, saying, "Friend, light the lamps already," to the second. The second said, "You broke the silence," to the first. The third said, "Fools, you've both broken the silence." The fourth one began to smile proudly, stating he was the only one who remained silent. And with that, he broke his silence. The moral of the story is to see that when we judge others, we begin to degrade ourselves. Judgment is a loop. When we judge others, we open ourselves to self-judgment, which causes us to become insecure. This insecurity enables us to judge others more, and the cycle continues. After reading this story, I promised to myself to never judge again, and boy, has it changed my world. When I gave up judgment, I was able to disrupt the cycle and see others in a more positive light, which in turn led me to see myself in a loving light. Judgment is malleable if we seek to live a life full of joy. but we can see this when applied to the four-way test, a test that measures the morality and ethics of the subject in question. 1, is it the truth? To this, the answer varies with context. Judgment is subjective. However, when we cast judgment, we are typically projecting our insecurities upon others, which, more often than not, is not accurate of the other person's feelings. Therefore, it is not the truth. 2, is it fair to all concerned? To this question, the answer also varies. While it is understandable that judgment is a natural instinct based on opinions and personal experience, it is when it is taken to the extreme that it becomes dishonorable. When we swiftly judge others, we run the risk of misjudging someone's character, and the speed at which the cycle of judgment turns increases. In short, while it is natural to judge, it matters on the intent behind the judgment and objectivity of the judgment to deem if it is a fair judgment. 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? When we cast judgment, we show those observing that we are impudent, destroying the key pillar of friendship, that is trust and respect. Not only does not casting judgment show that you have empathy and patience, but it also displays that you are able to separate the behavior from the person, a key quality in all relationships. 4, is it beneficial to all? When we stop judging others, we learn to stop judging ourselves, and we begin to reclaim our true nature of acceptance and prosperity. This is beneficial to life as our limiting beliefs begin to evaporate and we strive for the things we never would have attempted because of limiting self-judgment. It is apparent that when applied to the four-way test, that when we cast judgment, we open ourselves to the negativity of the world and begin to diffuse it. I would like to clarify that giving up judgment does not mean to accept or tolerate toxic behavior from others, but to give up judgment is to come from a place of understanding and empathize with others. It is easy to be blinded by the one vulgar trait someone presents, but it is our duty to look past that and see the potential positivity inside of them. So I challenge you, as of today, this moment, when you notice yourself judging someone, ask yourself, is it the truth? Is it fair? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And is it beneficial to all? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a life lesson that many don't learn. So to learn it at this age, or to at least start to learn it at this age, is a huge thing. So I appreciate your take on that. And I'm sure that it has made your life easier.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So
you get to see all the good when you stop judging others.
Exactly. I think that a lot of people are insecure, and so they judge out of that insecurity, trying to make themselves feel better, but it doesn't usually work. So yeah, no, I appreciate your take on that. So once again, Carlo, just let me know where we are.
Yep, looks like we have 4 of the 6 judges that are ready. We're waiting on Judge 1 and Judge 6. So 1 or 6, you can give us even a virtual, okay, we got 1, we're just waiting on 6, now we're good. We're ready for our next.
So our next speaker is Britton Major, or Major, however you want us to pronounce it, from Keller.
Give me just a moment and let me spotlight Britton. All right, we're ready.
Oh, sports. I'll never forget my first time being in the huddle, arm in arm with my brethren as we listened to our coach give a speech of absolute inspiration. I'll never forget him saying, "Listen up. If you homos keep running around out there like you want the other team to get on top of you, there's no chance we're going to win this thing." To which all my teammates erupted in laughter, and to which I grew silent and ashamed. In the current climate surrounding athletics, discrimination against queer athletes remains at an all-time high. And as a gay player myself, I find it essential that we lace up our cleats and place this problem through the 4 ways test to see how discrimination against queer athletes must be addressed. As we take the field, we examine our first question: is it the truth? And according to a study conducted by Time magazine, 80% of all participants said they had witnessed or experienced homophobia in sports. Furthermore, Executive acts such as House Bill 500 openly discriminate against queer athletes on a legal level by preventing transgender individuals from participating in the sports which match their gender identity. And if research statistics and government bills don't convince you this discrimination is real, simply ask yourself why there has only been one queer player in the NFL. Genuinely, out of 23,000 individuals to make it to the National Football League, we have only had one out and proud player. And we all know that's because this discrimination is a true phenomenon. With that established, we move on to the second point. Is it fair to all concerned? And discrimination against queer athletes leads both to the repression of one's uniqueness and the misrepresentation of the queer community in its entirety. According to a study conducted by The Guardian, 3 in 4 queer adolescents hid their sexualities due to fear. But when they do, we in turn push a heteronormative standard, painting athletics as a straight activity and stifle queer players in the process. But worst of all, we show young queer individuals that they should be ashamed for simply being who they are. And not only is that without a doubt inhumane, it is without a doubt unfair. This leads me directly into the third point of how the continuation of this prejudice destroys any hope of goodwill and friendship. As we discussed, with the majority of queer players hiding their sexualities due to fear, but when they do, we in turn rob their heterosexual counterparts of an experience in which to better themselves. How can we expect the queer community and athletics to build positive bonds when the very discrimination forces these two groups to remain separate? Therefore, as long as discrimination against queer players remains in the sports culture, there is no hope of building goodwill. And finally, we ask ourselves, is it beneficial to all? And this plague of discrimination is detrimental to everyone. I found that out when I moved up to varsity. Entering the locker room with my head held high because I had earned my spot, but was then set 10 yards back when they told me, don't get me wrong, you're a great player, it's just we don't want the homo looking at us naked. I was set another 10 yards back as I stood there waiting for one of my teammates to speak up for me, but heard silence. And I was set another 10 yards back knowing my coaches heard every word and did nothing. Penalty after penalty, until I found myself in my own end zone on a 4th down. With no teammates, no timeouts, and simply nothing left to give. Because in the modern sports culture, being queer is a setback. And this discrimination benefits no one. So let's head back to the locker rooms to review what we learned. We started today by understanding discrimination against queer athletes is a true phenomenon. It is unfair to both queer and heterosexual players. It destroys any hope of goodwill and friendship, and it benefits no one. I want to live in a world where anyone, regardless of sexuality or gender, can step onto a field and play a game. But sadly, humanity's ignorance has ruined something as simplistic and unifying as sports. And until we fix ourselves as a society, we will continue to see queer players left behind. But not because of their lack of athletic ability, but because we have been giving their heterosexual counterparts the head start. And that's not equality. And it's about time we all recognize sports are no longer just a game. Thank you.
Thank you, Britton. I applaud you for your courage to bear your emotions regarding your topic. It's a very, very hard thing for a lot of people to do.
Thank you.
All right. Are we going to try to get Ella on the next?
Yeah, Ella, if you're there, come off mute. I didn't see you come in another name or with on a phone or anything. If you're there, Ella, go ahead and come off mute and let us know if you're there, so we can try and get you in. I see you. Okay, I see that you're on mute. So let's do this. Let me spotlight you here. All right. So let's take you off of mute. You want to unmute yourself real quick, Ella? And we'll just. You can't. Okay. Let me try and. Okay. I just unmuted you.
Thank you.
Okay. Give me a count. Give me a count 1 to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right. Perfect. Lori, I'll throw it back to you, Lori, to give the official start for Miss Ella, okay?
Okay, so once again, we're gonna try this. Ella from Denton Lake City's Ella Randall. Go.
She walked down the stairs, not expecting to hear anything other than her footsteps, but she was met with something entirely unfamiliar. Ironically, when she reached the bottom of the staircase, symbolically, it would be her rock bottom. She heard voices, their collective voice, as they engaged in unspeakable acts against her. She closed her eyes and waited for it to be over, imprisoned by unfamiliar feelings she had never known. Every action they made, she never condoned. The once solid footing of the ground became quicksand that threatened to consume her. From that moment, she described living life in a body that wasn't her own. It was as if the guilt and shame buried her 6 feet under the earth. For months, she found a way to dig out of the ground every morning, just to be buried again and again and again. Hopelessness cannot begin to describe what she felt. She existed for almost 2 years, doing everything to forget the memories that were now etched in her mind. She found herself trapped and suffocating alone. Only in the recent months did she finally let herself admit to what happened, what she survived. And although it was a relief, she knew it was just the beginning, because as soon as she let herself remember, she was flooded with memories she wished she could forget. She felt death lurking behind every closed door, and she welcomed it. The guilt and shame was consuming. It followed her like a shadow, shapeless and devoid of form, by which she felt inseparably bound. Not only was she tormented during the day, but terrorized by the memories in her sleep, and this caused a host of other health concerns. She was seeing the world through fear-colored glasses and confined to a jail cell without a key. Everyday life activities became unbearable and sometimes seemingly insurmountable. Her recovery is not complete, as there are days and nights that are harder than others. Those once fear-colored glasses, she can begin to glimpse sunlight. With the help of a circle of support, she is beginning to believe that she won't have to live in fear, anger, and a need for retaliation. On the days when she wakes up feeling more victim than survivor, she is learning to look and see how far she's made it. Her journey towards healing is well underway. The reality of the world that we live in is that 1 in 5 women will be assaulted in their life, yet rape continues to remain the most unreported crime. Rape and sexual assault is prevalent throughout our globe, but what resources and education is made available for our survivors? Not enough. This is the truth. A team of researchers at Columbia University concluded that high school students that have received comprehensive sexuality education classes had reduced risk of sexual assault by 50%. With this research, we can not only expand education in our schools, but it would be a step towards beginning to protect our young women and children. No one believes it will happen to them until it does, and we as a society have a need to spread awareness and protect others in any way that we can. Whether that be signing petitions, donating, or even just being supportive if someone decides to share their story with you. This is fair to all. Out of every 1,000 sexual assaults, only 230 are reported to police, and only 4 of those perpetrators will go to prison. People who commit acts of sexual violence are the least likely to be convicted of all crimes. To be convicted of all crimes. It is more, when one commits acts of sexual violence, they deny that person the choice to control their own body. When a survivor shares their story, the response is typically to fix it. Even though this comes from good intentions, it reinforces the feeling of no control. It is more beneficial to come from a place of empowerment. Knowing how to support and encourage our survivors is crucial. This will build goodwill and better friendships. If you're wondering how the girl from the story is doing today, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Ella, that's quite a powerful speech, and you are also courageous for bringing that story to us. I applaud you for that. It's a difficult thing that for some reason we don't seem to be able to get a handle on easily. Are we still waiting on judges?
So, Lori, since we're done, any contestants, don't click the close all rooms that you should see on your screen, but we're sending the judges over to the breakout room, and then we'll deliberate, Lori, and then I'll let you know when the judges are ready.
Okay. All right. So we have some free time here. And Roger, did you want to go first?
Absolutely. I'll take care of that. So, Lori, thank you so much. Well, am I honored to be here today? This is one of my highlights of the year, as seeing these young minds come up with some incredibly great stories. Congratulations to each and every one of you for making this happen. This is something that I think most of us, if not all of us, have been very impressed with all of your stories on this. So I hope you take this experience and use this through the rest of your life. Make sure that you're putting this on your resume as that you were a participant in this. And this is just some of the stories out there. Oh my gosh, it's just every year I'm just blown away with how mature and how knowledgeable all of our contestants are for this contest. So this year is absolutely no exception for that. Y'all have all been extremely phenomenal, and you need to be very proud of where you made it through your clubs, through the regional, and now through our district. So thank you so much for our judges and our administration on this. Thank you so much for putting this together. This makes my job as a district governor a whole lot easier. And actually, this is just a great event, and y'all have done a wonderful job, Lori, putting this thing together and making this happen. I know you had some big footsteps to fill with Janelle, and you have absolutely taken on this task and done just an absolutely incredible job. And especially this year with it being as different as it is with the COVID, I think this is just has gone extremely smooth. Carlo, for putting this together and making this happen. You make it look easy. Those of us that do Zoom meetings know it's not easy, but you've done a great job. So, Lori, I'm gonna pitch it back to you, and thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this.
And thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate your support of this. I also would like to thank Carlo, he does make this look easy. He's been wonderful, and I don't think we could have had this without him, to be honest. And I also, although Janelle's not here today, I'd like to thank Janelle for her support and mentoring, as she had done this for a number of years. And so it was helpful to have her transition her knowledge so that we could put on a unique contest this year. I'm hoping we do not have to do another Zoom contest, because it's always so much nicer to be able to see everyone in person. Having said that, I wanted to get back to the question that I emailed to you all yesterday, and that is, with our COVID pandemic, when all the negativity we've gone through, related to schools, your life, as somebody mentioned in one of the speeches, your life is different because of COVID. In school, you haven't been able to do some of the activities that that you would have wanted to do. Things got canceled. Your family life may be different. You may have lost family members. Some people have. But with every bad thing comes good stuff too. So I wanted to hear from each of you, if I could. And it doesn't have to be a speech, just, a couple thoughts you might have about what the silver lining has been for you individually or for your family. And I'm just going to start with Morris, since you were the first to speak and you actually even spoke about COVID.
To answer your question, I would definitely say that I've learned that you have to cherish every moment because nothing is promised to you. As a freshman, I did have a lot of goals for this year, a lot of things that I plan to do, like, going to my senior prom and having the memories that I was expecting, and I didn't get those memories. So you have to cherish every moment. One thing that I'm most proud of myself for doing is that I went to everything that I possibly could have gone to as a freshman, as a sophomore, as a junior. I did every single thing. I did every single dance. I went to every single event, went to every single football game. And I'm proud of that because these moments were the same moments that were taken away from me as a senior. And that's what I've learned. You have to cherish every single day like it could be taken from you tomorrow. Because it can.
Yeah. Good point. We've all witnessed that. So very good. That's a good thought. All right, Jack. Thank you, Morris. Jack, are you there? Jack? Oh, there you are.
There I am. So one of the silver linings that I found during COVID was I really started to spend more time playing music and writing Christian folk songs. I started, it's something that started before COVID, but then it really skyrocketed as I was spending more time at home with my guitar. And so that's something I'm really thankful for, that I've been able to have time to write more songs and to praise him with them.
So you had an opportunity to allow yourself to be creative.
That's right. Yes, I definitely would say so.
Yeah, sometimes we get too busy and we don't allow ourselves that opportunity. So that's a good thing as well. So, all right, thank you. Next, Christian Steele, are you there?
Hello. So to answer the question, my silver lining has kind of been a moment of strength, I would say, because I haven't been at school and I just now returned back to school for the end of the year. But initially at the start of the year, I got COVID in September. And then for the rest of the year, I was completely stay at home and isolated. So it was kind of a moment of self-learning, like, what can I do here? How can I make a routine? Like, what can I do here? And that type of thing. So it was kind of difficult at some moments. Some moments I didn't think if I could actually go on with the day because it was so hard without like anyone else and just staying at home in general. So I've been strong in the time. So I've kind of built myself a little bit up more, and I'm proud of that.
So yeah, you have had to learn how to be strong when you didn't necessarily feel that way to start with, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and I think from the people, I have been lucky enough not to get COVID, but from the people I know who've gotten COVID, sometimes there is a certain depression that comes with that for some people. I don't know if you experienced that, but that can have an effect as well. So, yeah. All right. Thank you, Christian. Next would be Ella. Are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Throughout COVID, it has given me an opportunity just to focus on my future and really like plan and what I want to do, and just having the opportunity and so much time. I've actually had the opportunity to graduate a year early, and just finish all of my stuff. So, yes.
So that was a big advantage for you. Yes.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes without other distractions, you can get a lot done, can't you? Yeah.
That's true. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations on that. So, All right, Emiliano, are you there?
Yes. I would say my silver lining is that I'm very much an extrovert. So just kind of being locked down and quarantining when the whole pandemic started, it just gave me the time to be more introspective. And I think a lot of people have taken away that time of just like self-reflection and self-improvement in this time where you can't be with anyone else, you can't work with anyone else. It's very hard to collaborate with others. So I feel like just the opportunity to finally have some time to work on myself and like where do I want to go in the future, just really taking the time to plan and reflect what is best for me is kind of my silver lining and takeaway from the whole pandemic.
Gotcha. Well, and you mentioned some of what you've been doing in your speech with the working on the judgment issues and things like that. So that is a self-reflection item that's evident in your COVID reflections. Yeah. So that's awesome. Yeah, I do think it's kind of like Jack was saying about the creativity. I think we tend to keep ourselves very, very busy, and we don't allow ourselves to just chill very much and think about things we might want to do, things, self-reflection. We don't do that enough. And I think that is a disadvantage to us. So maybe that's why the world is such an anxious place, because we're just too busy to do that. So probably should have more of those Buddhist monks not talking, right? So, yeah. All right, so Britton.
I would definitely say my silver lining would have to be this, doing public speaking and speech. If you had told me last year that I would have been doing this, would not have believed you. I did theater, and with theater and sports, I would never thought I had the time. But with theater being canceled and being less sporting events this year, I've definitely been able to have the time to write speeches and go to these events, which has been really fun because now I'm definitely going to do it next year, and I want to continue doing it. This is never an opportunity I would have gotten without COVID. So.
Right. My grandmother, who died at age 100, always said that God never closes a door without opening a window or two. So, you know, it has given us opportunities that we just had to take. So that's good. Yeah. Very good. So anybody else have any comments?
And Lori, we're almost done. We need maybe one more minute, Lori.
Okay. Yeah, I'm afraid that for me, my COVID stuff was related to baking, you know? So I was out there looking for flour like everybody else was. For some reason, that was really very comforting to me. Roger, did you have a silver lining for the pandemic for you?
Well, I say often this is the best year to be a district governor because I don't have any past district governors telling me that's not the way it's been done in the past. So other than that, no, it's been a great year. I've been to over 80 clubs. We have 74 in the district. I've been to a few clubs more than once. We're working hard to visit the clubs that I did Zoom meetings with, but where I could go and visit with them live, or at least participate in their lunch or dinner or whatever event we have. But the biggest silver lining that I think that I really want to congratulate each and every member in our district is thinking outside the box, understanding that this is not the way it's normally done. So how do we make this work? How do we do our projects? How do we help others that are in need? And we've got just an incredible team out there throughout the district, throughout the 31 counties that we represent, that are just doing some phenomenal work out there. I went to a dinner last night at the Texas Motor Speedway. They wrapped that up yesterday. Was their last day to give vaccinations out there. They gave, I believe, just under 400,000 vaccinations at that one facility. Their biggest day was 17,000 in one day. They were running between 8 and 12,000 on average for the other days they were there. They worked very well with FEMA and Homeland Security, and the county of Denton actually is the one that worked to put that together, and our one of our great Rotarians, Andy Eads, which is our Denton County judge, that really was very instrumental in making that happen. Past District Governor Gerald Robinson worked out there literally almost every day to make sure everything ran smooth, and we had about 300 volunteers every day, 300 to 400 volunteers every day going out there to make that happen. Made a lot of changes. I went out there and worked, and I saw elderly people that literally were crying because they realized at that point they would be able to see their grandchildren and their children again without restrictions or seeing them live. So that's the silver lining I have, is just all the work and all the work outside the box that our members in our district did to make everything happen. We still need to be very aware that there's a lot of people out there that are immunocompromised, and we want to make sure that we think of them when we're going out. A mask might be uncomfortable, but there may be times that you want to go ahead and wear a mask just to make the other person around you more comfortable out there. So, but that's my silver lining, is just how well everything ran this year with all the challenges that we had.
Oh, great. It's always good to hear. Thank you. All right, I'm seeing the faces of the judges now. So are we all ready then? Okay. All right. So I am assuming that there is a judge who is prepared to tell us who is the 6th place.
I believe that is Chuck Chambers. So Chuck, you're up.
Can't hear.
Chuck, are you there?
He's talking.
Chuck, make sure to unmute yourself.
I think Chuck is unmuted.
Can't hear him.
So I tell you, hey, Bill, why don't you fill in for Chuck if you would, and if you'll introduce the 6th place winner, and we'll spotlight them as soon as you announce them.
I don't have that information in front of me.
I'll do it, Carlo.
Thank you.
In 6th place, taking home a cash prize of $100 is Christian Steele from the Burleson Area Midday Club.
Thank you.
Carlo, congratulations. Speech was excellent. Actually, they all were. Trust me, this was tough to judge.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Yeah. I've been doing it a long time. Is Chuck back on? Because he could swap places with me, Carlo, or I could just do mine again for the next one.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead and take 5th place also.
Okay. In 5th place, earning a cash prize of $200 is Jack Miller from the Rotary Club of Abilene.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Jack.
Thank you so much. I thank God for this opportunity to be here. I thank you all so much for hosting this and for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. So do we have then the 4th place?
Yes, that's honored to announce. In 4th place and taking home a $450 cash prize is Emiliano Gutierrez Berlanga of Arlington North Rotary Club. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It's fantastic.
All right. So then we're down to 3rd place.
In 3rd place and taking home a $550 cash prize is Ella Randall from Denton Lake Cities. Ella, congratulations. That was an
Thank you.
incredible, moving speech.
Thank you. Well done. Okay, number 2.
All right, all right. Well, Mr. Morris Mims is an extremely talented man, and congratulations on achieving second place for your speech contest. We know you're going to go far.
Thank you. I really appreciate that you're putting on such an outstanding program. You guys did an amazing job this year.
Well, I'm so glad that you could participate, because this was the fear that we wouldn't be able to have a good program for you. So I'm glad that worked. Yeah.
And Morris, I'd like to say good job on moving things around and getting your camera pulled up. You did a great job, and it didn't affect your speech whatsoever.
Thank you
So
so
good
much.
job. And I think someone asked what second place was. Second place, Morris, you received $650.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, so that leaves us first place.
And I am very happy to announce in first place, and it was very much across the board, everyone agreed. Our first place winner receiving $750 is no surprise because he's on the screen with me, Britton Major, and I'm going to say the last name Major from the Keller Rotary. Congratulations, Britton. I'd like to say you did a fantastic job. You were very comfortable in your discussion. You had an excellent presence. You went at an excellent speed. Your subject matter was very close to your heart, which allows you to speak very well to it. And in the closed session with the other judges, I said, and you can see now where I work, that I would hire you today if I could. So Britton, take it away, sir.
Thank you so much. It's been a great opportunity for me to do. Going in this year with not doing much speech, really grateful that the Rotary Club gave me this opportunity. So I have nothing to say but thank you so much.
Britton, I look forward to meeting you. I'm up in Keller very often, and I would love to meet you in person.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome job. I really think everyone did an awesome job, but Britton, I think you did have an outstanding speech, and as Wendy said, it was something close to your heart, which always is easier to speak about. And I think the silver lining of the pandemic allowed you to develop that skill set that you didn't even know you had. So that was awesome for you. So I appreciate that. So I am wanting to say one last thing about the judging. I appreciate so much the judges, because this was a difficult contest to judge. I do want to say that we do have actually a visiting judge with us. Dominique is actually from California. She contacted me, I guess a month or so ago, and said that she needed judges for her contest and she would judge for ours. And I was happy to have her because it gives a different perspective. And she, I hope, had fun doing it. So
I had a great time. And in fact, I even invited our first place winner from our district to watch today's contest. He's here and he's been enjoying this contest today. It's been an incredible perspective for us here in California to see how y'all do it in Texas. Thank you for the opportunity. It's been incredible.
Dominique, I'm proud of you for using the word y'all in proper context. And I think that any of the judges that were involved today would be very happy to join you if you need help in future speech competitions. And Lori and I have known each other the longest, and we have both been in separate Rotary clubs. However, we have similar passions, and I see similar passions coming out in these contestants. So I'd like to say congratulations. And Britton, if I didn't tell you how much you're getting $750. So I just wanted to make sure that I included that because I don't know that I said that.
I just wanted to let y'all know that the reason I reached out to Lori is because your district has an unbelievable website that highlights and spotlights this contest better than anyone else on Google, because you came up either first or second on a Google search when I typed in Rotary 4-Way Test Speech Contest. So Roger, congratulations to you and your district and your webmaster for bringing me from California the attention that I needed to find y'all to help me with my contest. So thank you for that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure Roger and I don't know if John Picorni is watching, but I know he does a lot of work on the website, so he'll be glad to hear that. So, all right, well, that about wraps it up for me. If anybody has any questions or final comments.
I think I just have a final comment. I will say that I have been contacted during this presentation by some of our fellow Rotarians that are not judges, because they wanted to be able to watch this speech contest, because this is very close to the hearts of many of our members that weren't even asked to be a part of it as a judge. So Rotarians band together, and contestants, look for a group when you go to college to continue on with Rotary. And then when you graduate and you enter into your life in your profession, look for a Rotary club that is close to you. And as you travel around the United States or the world, as I know all of Lori's sons have done, I know them very well, look for Rotary clubs around the world, and they will welcome you in and make you feel a part of that club.
Yes, they will. I agree. All right, Carlo, anything from your end?
You know, I just want to thank everyone for joining, and everybody that's watching on Facebook or might be watching this recording. The 4-Way Test is the hallmark of what we do. I'm going to put it up one time, and if everybody on the call, maybe we could just say it with me, even though you're on mute. Number 1, is it the truth? Number 2, is it fair to all concerned? Number 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? These are the 4 pillars of what we believe in here at Rotary, and we hope if you're interested, feel free to reach out to a club or send us a direct message, and we'd love to connect with you. Lori, back to you to close us out.
All right, well, that's all I have. I thank you all for coming. I thank all the members who are watching, all the families who are watching, and I hope everyone has a really great day.